all the butterflies flap, flap their wings, go, go long distances, so you know you can make it too. Hi out there in the YouTube. This is going to be like an edited version. I'm going to keep the original video up, but I just wanted to do a quick shout out to Patricia Steer from Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. Hi. Please let me know what you think, Patricia. And also to Flight Risk. Because that's actually why I'm re-uploading this video, is because the background music was a little too like boom, 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 boom. And like, I actually agree with you, Flight Risk. Like, that's actually a really good point. And I wish my boyfriend would have been like, the background music's too loud. Because then I would have lowered it. Like, I put it from 100%, which was like blasting, to what was in the previous video, was reduced to 17. And so I reduced it to 4%. So it's just like this little sound. And I cross my fingers that it's okay now. So, to the re-edited ones. Hi out there in the YouTube. Welcome back to number 11. So, you may have noticed I'm still wearing my fancy chapeau it's got the Grim Reaper on it. Because, you know, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. I know a lot of you out there are going to be like, no, it's Uranus. But I'm aware that there's a dual rulership going on. It's just, I usually tend to stick with the original rulerships the most, and would consider Uranus kind of like the secondary ruler, because they both apply. You know, Saturn being all about higher knowledge and education, trials, tribulations, as well as kind of putting the brakes on things. And, you know, like on a car, so to speak, it's the brakes. It makes it stop, which can be really good sometimes, but not all the time. Like if your brakes were broken and they're just stuck on, that's not so good. And if you can't brake ever, that's not so good either, right? So that's the Saturn energy about it, okay? But then Uranus is like the planet of unexpected events, of weirdness, and of like quirkiness. Like it's unexpected upheavals, originality, uniqueness. And that really kind of does sum up a lot of the Aquarian traits. Aquarius, you know, also is depicted as holding the water, the pitcher, and they're pouring out the water. You know, they're so generous. And that's often as people see the symbol, is because, you know, they are typically very giving individuals. So they're like pouring out water, the water bearer, and they give water. And that's true, but there is more to the story than that. Quite a bit, actually. They aren't materialistic at all. So those things don't mean very much to them. So that makes it a little less special, I suppose, you know what I mean? Like if they mean a lot to you, it doesn't to them. So, I mean, you might see them as being so giving and loving, but that's just, I don't know, they don't want that stuff anyway. So, I mean, it's not that special to them. And if it makes you happy, that is the more important component of it. Because they are an air sign. They are a lot about the mind and intellectual pursuits, as well as like trying to understand the mind, which can be very confusing for Aquarius individuals sometimes, given that they have a rebellious nature. And this rebellious nature links to the pouring out of the water, because in the ancient like Greek mythology. I don't remember all the names, okay, but basically Aquarius was kind of like the servant to the gods. And, you know, he did this, he did this, he did this. And then one day, he had just had enough. And so he took the water, or like the elixir, off the table, of the gods' tables. And he dumped it out. He was like, fuck this, I'm over this. He was like, fuck this, I'm over this, I'm over this. And in the Greek mythology, the gods would have like just destroyed him normally for such disobedience. However, given such lifelong servitude, they let it go. And they more banished Aquarius to Earth. And so that's kind of the mythology behind that. So they aren't just giving of the water, because they don't even want it. Like, I mean, it's an earthly thing. Like, and they're just banished here on Earth. So, I mean, it's not that special, right? Just water. But, I mean, we're made of water. Like, how's it that special, right? Like, but Aquarius is kind of the weirdo of the zodiac. That's kind of why I wore my mesh see-through shirt, because they tend to be the rebel, and they push boundaries, and they're a lot about, you know, kind of fringe things, like things that aren't necessarily normal. They have that rebellious nature in them, so you almost tell them not to do something, and it's going to make them want to do it. So, almost like, I don't know, try to pull reverse psychology on them, or just don't try to not care what the fuck they do, because if you tell them not to, they're probably just going to do it more. So, out of their rebellious nature. Not that they're doing it on purpose, like they themselves might even beat themselves up about it, because they're very like self-analytical and will analyze themselves. But at the same time, it's like, you know, just be careful what you tell them not to do. Just maybe better to just let things take their course as they would naturally without any of your intervention. But yeah, they really do have a strong streak of detachment, whereas like as a child, for example, where one lives a little more on the emotional plane, so like a Cancer, they would need emotional nurturing, help, encouragement. But an Aquarius would almost be like, I got this, Mom, I'm gonna tie my shoes. Like, I don't need help. Like, I'm smart too. Like, an Aquarius is very much like that. They're very independent, and they can show that they can do things on their own, and that they don't really need anybody. And yeah, from a second person, or from a not an Aquarius, but looking in to the situation, a lot of times Aquarius gets kind of the brunt end of the stick, where people they say they don't care, and they say that, you know, that they're detached, that they have no emotional investment in people. But really, I think they do. And to be honest, like, my boyfriend is an Aquarius moon, okay? And I will say, a lot of the times, I feel sometimes like he doesn't love me. Because, like, he'll be in the other room, and, you know, it's just very like, hi. Like, it can be kind of detached sometimes. But I mean, that's just how they are. I mean, I've never had no one else in my life has ever been there for me as much as he has. And has stuck by my side through thick or thin. And so Aquarius, I think, is a great sign. It's just that they do, it's almost like it's from the future, like an alien or something. Like, it's so different than the energy of pretty much all the other, like the 11 other signs. Aquarius has like the ability to detach in such a way that it can show such compassion and understanding to humanitarian concepts. Like, for example, like if someone had swore to something and then like they changed their mind later. They said they were going to meet them at a restaurant or something for a date. They promised they'd be there. And then they weren't. The Aquarius person would let it go. They would be very like, that's fine, I guess something came up. Or, you know, maybe they're not interested in me anymore. Oh well. And they brush it off. Because they typically don't have that much attachment to things in this world. And that's something that a lot of people, if like they're a partner with an Aquarius, is just have to get you. You just have to accept that about them pretty much, because they do love you and very strongly. That's because they were there. Then they will be there for you. As long as you're there for them, like accept their quirks and their uniqueness. You know, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And you know, a lot of times Aquarius can seem to be almost contradictory on purpose. Kind of like a Libra, where they want, you know, just try to see it the other way. Like, you know, but not quite in a Libra way where they want like this peace and balance, but they're like, why look at it that way? Flip over the apple cart, think of it this way, reorganize everything. And yeah, but they have it in more of a rebel nature. So yeah, let me know your feedback below. I much appreciate it. Subscribe and give me a like if you're new. And I look forward to seeing you in Pisces. It's the final of the series. I really enjoy doing these video series for you guys, and I'm gonna keep doing them. I think it's fun. And if you guys have any ideas to like, I don't know, twists I could do on it, like I've already done like dating advice, you know, like I've done many different kind of spin-offs of like the astrology series, but I love talking about astrology so much, and I think that it helps if we all understand each other a little bit more. It'll help if you understand the whole spectrum of consciousness. Then you can understand that we all fall within it, and that we really are all one within it, like a big hug. So Aquarius, I think, can understand that a little deeply, more so than other signs, and that's why they can be okay with detachment, because they know that really we're not separate, and that there's nothing to fear, and that we're just creating the world of our making. It's a really positive way to think, and it's sad sometimes though, because Aquarius can be kind of melancholy and sometimes not understand themselves, even though they can show so much compassion and understanding to other people. Oftentimes when it comes to looking at themselves in the mirror, especially given their rebellious nature, their ego can show a reflection that is just sometimes hard for them to deal with. And they can be very secretive about that, because it can be hard to share those things into the world where they might feel that they'd be persecuted or burned at the stake for thinking differently than people of the past. When, if it weren't for new thoughts, we wouldn't evolve, we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't change. So Aquarius really is kind of the fire, the ignition that is, you know, driving that engine, I think, of change and evolution. So give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the last video, Pisces. The fishes swimming in completely opposite directions. Bye. Let your spirit grow wings and fly with me, and fly with me.